What's up, guys? We got a fun project today. We got an RX7, a JDM RX7. Yeah, you know you like it. Right-hand drive, whole 9 yards. So, if you haven't figured it out by now, we're gonna be putting a Holley on this thing. So, the car is a 92 RX7, came from Japan, went to England sometime around 04, I think is what I understand, and the car got LS swapped over there. So it's got an LS1 with a T56 manual transmission out of a C5 vet, and it's got an old ECU in it, really old EFI system, something called Emerald M3D. It's kind of primitive. We tried playing around with tuning it. Not saying it can't be tuned, but technology is so much better nowadays that we don't want to run this system with what, you know, the customer wants to do with the car. Basically, one of the big things is this system's so old it doesn't have eye control, which the M3D did get, but in a later revision. So not having eye control, tuning this is kind of tricky. It tries to control idle with timing, and it's not that it doesn't function, it just could function a lot better. It's also very difficult to find any information on it other than what's on the website, or you have to, you know, email or call guys over in England and ask about it, and even to them it's still a really old system, so they don't do with it a lot. So what we want to do is put a Holley Terminator X on it. This is the X, not the X Max, because that's drive-by cable and it's manual transmission, so we don't need the Max portion of it. Not that it matters a whole lot, neither here nor there, except the ECU is a little bit smaller, tiny bit smaller, because you don't have the 2 extra ports. So, and we've got some new fuel lines and fittings and all that good stuff. We're going with AN lines. It's the Holley alternator adapter. Mainly doing that because it blew a fuel line down there. So it's got a Corvette filter regulator combo mounted here. The 2 lines going to that connect down to the factory hard line right down there. It's really close to the header. The thing's in an awkward spot. We're just going to try to move that around, basically. So we'll put some braided lines on it, PTFE lines, so they'll hold up better with the ethanol and the fuel nowadays. This is where the ECU is mounted. I did not bring a light with me, but you can see it right there. That's the Emerald M3D system. Real old serial to USB stuff. Big old box though. It's pretty good size. Actually, grab a light. We will compare the Terminator size to the Emerald M3D system. And if y'all figured it out, we like our Holleys. So pretty much the same, down in there, pretty much the same footprint. This is a little thinner, not really any longer once you account for the connector down there. So yeah, we're just gonna remove that, mount this. That's the plan anyways. See, decent little car. I mean, it's an older car, so you know, she's not perfect, but that was what you get with a 30-year-old car. It's hard to believe these things are 30 now. So we got the car up on jack stands. First thing is, we're gonna start ripping out all the current wiring harness and start throwing in the Holley stuff. And it shouldn't really take a lot, because you know, we've done this a few times. We've done these fairly quickly, quite a few times, and I really feel like we can get this done within the next couple days, tuned and everything. That's the plan anyways. So alrighty, let's get to it. All right, guys, it's the next day, and we made some progress on the RX7, but we're kind of to the hard part. The intake manifold had to come off because the knock sensor harness wasn't being used and it's cut off down there, and I want to use that with the Holley, so we'll hook that up. And also there was a ground attached to the cam sensor bolt back here, which we couldn't get to because it was like right here underneath this piece sticking off the back of the intake. So that's no big deal. We'll get that stuff changed out. But the interior is in a million pieces. Well, it's a lot of pieces anyway. So where I'm at on this is I don't do hardly any of these imported JDM cars. So this car in '92 was not made in the United States. So the diagrams for the wiring are not in English for this car. And they're also harder to find because I can't just look them up on our typical systems that we have for that. So I've got to figure out what's tied into the car. Like, the car has an anti-theft device that I'm not going to show or explain, but it has one, and obviously it involves the starter and some other things because that, you know, that's what they do. You know, there's signal wires in here, but then there's other stuff that runs into things that I don't understand. So I've got to figure that out. The decoded digital box, it appears, is what controls the speedometer. So apparently this box takes the speed signal in from the T56 and outputs a signal to the cluster. So that's fine, that can stay that way. The Holley harness that I have down here does not have a speed sensor plug on it. So I've got to figure out how I want to go about doing this. What we're probably gonna do is take another one of the outputs off of the decoded digital box, output that to one of the inputs on the Holley, and then, you know, build that out in the system, tell the Holley it's basically speed, and then I can use it. And the reason I need that isn't to control the cluster, it isn't to control shifting because it's a manual. It's really nothing to do with any of that. What I need it for is to be able to control stuff like the fans, and then later on down the road, if he wants to go with air conditioning, to be able to add that in there. Because by default, the Holley system controls the fans. We like to do a custom setup where we don't allow the fans to come on unless the temperatures are met and the engine is at a running RPM, so that way they don't come on with a key on when the engine's hot, because that'll drain your battery. Now I know some people want to do that, and you can do that, you know, with the set using one of the inputs to activate them secondarily or something like that. Then the other thing is speed based. Like, you don't want the fans turning at a certain mile an hour and above, because then at that point the fans are restricting more than they're helping. All factory vehicles, well, at least all newer factory vehicles are set up that way. I like to replicate that, so I need the speed input for this. It'd also be useful for things such as the idle tables, you know, to be able to know it's in idle whenever the engine speed is coming down, like know whether you're in coast down idle or sitting still idle, things like that. So the plan is today, well, we got a couple things, but plan is to figure out the rest of that wiring so we can completely remove the Emerald M3D harness. That's the box, by the way. So I think the best route, if I can find it, is to find the pinout for this. The problem is this is very old. There's the Emerald M3D K, I think. It's the difference in the K I can find info for, but that is the next version from this one. If I find the pinouts for this, I can pretty much determine what these wires are doing, and off of that I can narrow it down and then, you know, figure out what we need to use for the Holley and what we don't. But if I can't find those, then we got to find the Japanese diagrams and do some translating and figure out what's what in this car. And the car's been modified a lot, so that's, you know, it gets fun. But that's where we're at. It's coming along fairly well. Still got to do the fuel system. I got to figure out how I'm going to execute that, because I don't have that mapped out yet. Honestly, that's secondary because that's an easy problem to solve. This is a bigger concern because we've got a deadline on this, a short deadline. So I need to get this car done, rewired on the Holley and tuned, work out any other kinks this car has because it hasn't been on the road in a while, work all those bugs out, and it needs to be ready like within a week basically. So that's the current state of things where we left off last night. So getting started back today. but there's 100 other things I got to do today too. So it's going to be kind of pieced together, and some of it maybe, you know, not till Monday, but we also got to work on my vet. Because, you know, got an exhaust leak, and we got to figure that out. It's somewhere after the headers, so we're going to rack that thing and figure that out shortly. But in the interim, we're going to be working on this. So I'm going to get back on it today and see what we can figure out. All right, making progress. So, turns out I was tired last night and I didn't read this correctly. That says rear view of connector, wire side. I read view of connector and wire side and was looking at it this way. Turns out it goes that way. So looking at it that way, the Emerald M3D diagram makes more sense now. And it looks like this white wire is our tack output and the blue wire is our shift light, which are the two I didn't understand off of this harness. So with that, all I gotta do is finish unlooming this part and then take those wires out, flag them. We should be getting closer to pulling the whole harness out, and then we'll start putting the Holley one through this hole that you can't see because I can't even see it. It's back up behind that box. And I'll probably go ahead and put the dash back together because I don't think I need anything else back there. So, all right, progress at least. All right. It's probably awkward layout because we're going passenger side versus driver side, or well, opposite of that. We're routing it JDM spec, I guess.
Oil sensor.
We're probably not going to run oil sensor because I think this is the gauge sending unit. Yeah. Holley don't need it, it's just for visual, so.
You can just tuck that like that.
Okay. The only reason to run that is if we want to.
The knock sensor can go there, the cam sensor's plugged in, eject or coils are in, and injector wiring's right here.
Can't decide.
Crank sensor is run down here, the ground is tucked in right here.
Let's flip this on the other side of this heater core hose. Get the knock sensor sub harness and grounds in into the intake on. Holy crap, bro!
What?
Where are the valley cover bolts?
You didn't take them out?
No, I just noticed those are not in there.
Get some of them.
What the hell is holding it down?
You got new knock sensors or just the sub harness?
Just the sub harness. I only ordered it because they cut the old one. No, I legit just noticed that there are no valley cover bolts. Why are they missing is the real question. No, and both of the intakes set it down there. That's, you know, concerning, but it is what it is. Yay. Gotta run these wires. I think one's tack, one's fuel pump. Shouldn't need tack. No, yeah, I do need the tack wire. I gotta tie it into the one in the car. I'm trying to remember what's standalone and what ain't on this thing. It's dormant, so you know it fits like dormant. Installed. So really we bolt. I mean, those are like freshly missing too, which is just odd. But anyways, get the grounds on there. It'll be good on that. Ejector sub harness. Plug that in. I think I got the inside figured out, but I should state that that is not starter. I assumed it was, not because it's purple, but the gauge of it and the part of the security system it runs to is what made me think that. Turns out that is actually an added on constant power wire. So there's that. But again, not going into a lot of detail on that because I'm not going to explain or disclose how the security on this thing works. Just know that that ain't starter. That's something different. So, progress. I just got to get everything mounted and all that back up in there. Alright, things have escalated quickly. Dash is back together. Well, for the most part, gotta put the column back together and lower trim on it. This panel's off. Door sill's off. Reason being, this is the main power harness to the Holley. The harness that runs directly to the battery. So what it did is pull all this back and ran it within this track right here. So that way it follows, you can tell right there, it follows the factory harness. They come out back here in the battery, kind of hard to see, it's right there. So get all that rest of that tucked up in there. It'll follow the main harness perfectly, nice, clean, can't see anything. But the hood is back together. The intake's back on. That's fuel pressure. We're not going to run that on this car. That'll get hidden, remove something. Map sensor, I got to get one to get it plugged in there, and then I got to plug the crank sensor in. Then we got to run our constant power, fuel pump, tach, and then our switch 12 volt and our ground. It's right here. So the stuff under the hood will get tied into these that are flagged, and we'll get all that run. I gotta get this wire finished running it, verify the placement of the ECU, the length of the harness off of all that, make sure I got the run positioned where I want it, and then we'll cut it off back there. Yeah, it's coming along. You know, huge mess, but you know, we're only like a few hours into this. It's really not that bad. So next step is lock that harness into place. The kick panel's over there. I got to figure out where the ECU needs to fit, and then figure out how the harness needs to be placed around it in order for the kick panel to go on. And once I got that sorted out, I'll finalize this, snap all this back together, throw the trim back on over there, and then we're down to just wiring up a few things here. Like I mentioned, a couple things under the hood. I need to look into speed signal input to the Terminator. I got to put the IO harness on it because I got to hook up the electric fans. This is going extremely fast, so it's really not bad for the time that's been spent on it. So, all right, I guess I'll start figuring out how to fit that into place and sorting out the length of this, and we'll go to it from there. All right, so it's a different day. We got all the wiring connected, we should say. Not done, but connected. Fuel system is under the car. See the new line right here coming off the rail, nice and shiny. Curves way back away from the headers down here, and then comes off from back here on the pump. Relocated the fuel filter to back here. Now it's kind of hanging because we got to build a bracket for it, but that's gonna happen here in a minute. Main thing is everything is connected. Now ignore all this, because basically I pulled everything that was tucked up in the kick panel out and kind of left it that way for right now until we test everything and make sure everything's functioning correctly. And then once that's done, we'll clean it all up and tuck it back up in there. We got, let's see, we got the map sensor on. Dials, I have one hooked up to electric fans. The other ones are just going to hang out right here for a minute while we test everything, because we may have to hook up the speedometer input into it. So not from the speedometer, but coming from the Dakota digital converter box. So that's the plan. First things first, I'm gonna get to setting up this Holley. We got to plug in the 3.5 screen, turn the key on, power everything up, make sure everything's happy, nothing's moved or wiggled in there that shouldn't have, and start going through the base tune, and then make sure fuel pump primes, make sure there's no leaks, because you know those are messy and annoying. God, I hope there ain't none. Should be good though. So yep, let's get to setting up the screen, or plugging the screen in, setting up the base config. All right, so the RX7 fires up and it idles okay, but we haven't completed the tune on it yet, so that's to be expected. It's been a long day. I haven't been able to get my head right on the wiring. It's been a little bit of a struggle. So I didn't film all of it because I've been fighting with a fuel pump issue, wiring issue, something simple I should have called, should have known about, shouldn't have had a problem with, but one of them days. But we'll see if we can't go ahead and fire this thing up anyway. As y'all can see, it does run. All the gauges light up and everything. Good like that. Holley's booting up. We'll get there in a minute. All right, tack works, that's a good thing. Gotta give her a little gas. Exhaust sounds a little weird, but I've never really heard the car, so I don't know if that's normal or not, but tack seems to be pretty accurate. You know, it's showing about 9 something on the Holley, right around 1,000 on the tack, close enough. He's got a cam, you hear it chopping. So that's where we're at on that. Now, unfortunately, today is Tuesday. Car's got to leave Thursday. Tomorrow, being Wednesday, I've got to go out of town to go tune a Terminator and a Dominator set up. 2 different cars. One has a Terminator, one has a Dominator. Both with Chevy 2 Novas. Gotta go tune those. So I'll be around tomorrow. So I'll see if maybe I can talk Sean into filming. Well, no 2 bung in, but unlikely because he's probably gonna be in a hurry to get it done. We got to weld the 2 bung in, build a bracket for the back. Then we got to drive it. Probably happen tomorrow night. We'll try to get back as soon as I can. But that's where we're at right now. As the end of tonight, no, I still have not cleaned up the wires because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, got to make sure stuff's right before I go tucking it all up in them difficult to get to places. And it just so happens, you know, the fuel pump, you know, I'll be honest with you, I overlooked something very simple. When I was looking at the Emerald M3D system, looking at the pinout, I saw fuel pump and I was like, oh cool, that's fuel pump wire. What I didn't read is, you know, the thing's British, so it's an earth wire, which is ground to us Americans. So that's ground switch, not power switch. So when I hooked the Holley up to it, 12 volt, popped the fuse on the Holley system. So I've got to add a relay to invert the signal so that it's ground switching instead of 12-volt switching, which isn't the end of the world. You just put a relay in there, and you know, you have the Holley trigger the relay. The relay basically passes ground from 30 through to 87, and then that goes into the fuel pump relay in the car. So, you know, it's double relaying, but it's the easiest way to just invert a signal like that. So that's where we're at. It's been a long day. I'm tired because behind the scenes, what y'all don't see is, you know, how much goes on with trying to run the business and all the other 9 million things happening. But I'm gonna take a break for a minute, kind of clear my mind, because I still got to fix that relay situation. But to clear my mind, we're gonna change out these side markers on the vet. This is my vet, by the way. That's a customer car. Don't know if I specified that. That's why it's leaving Thursday. That's a customer car. This is my car, and it's dirty as all get out because I don't have time to wash it. It's not normally daylight when I'm not here. So I bought it with these semi-tinted side markers. They're kind of crappy. I don't know if it comes up in a video, but it's really like, it's like the black just kind of washed down to the bottom. Really weird looking. So boy Scott hooked me up and had another set tinted for me. These things are dope. He even had the DOT markings shaved off of them, so they're nice and slick. That one's not in it because, well, hell, let's go over the car real quick. See how my bumper kind of pokes up right there? Yeah, it does so on the other side too. So figuring out why that's the case, turns out potholes, speed bumps are what people in Arkansas call speed bumps, which are actually parking stops. You know, going over those, even slowly, it doesn't matter the speed, sometimes slower is worse, pushes up on the bumper right there. And in doing that, I broke the 2 clips here, 2 clips here, and the upper bumper support bracket. So anyways, taking the bumper off to figure out what was wrong with it, one of the clips broke off of that light, and that's why it ain't in there. But it's in the car, so give you a good side-by-side view of what was on it versus what's going on it. Yeah, so you can kind of tell there's a lot of amber showing through, washed out, thicker on the bottom than the top, sprayed kind of funky. These are way better. So we'll put those on the car real quick, see what that looks like. Oh, and that bulb was blowing, so I should probably change that. But lucky for me, I own a shop and we have bulbs in stock. Let's go see what this is. Looks like a little 194, but I could be wrong. Is it a 194? Looks like a winner to me. We'll grab 2. I think the other side's blown as well. Yeah, this ain't got anything to do with the RX7 over there, so this episode will be a little weird. But it's the day-to-day life and all the chaos that ensues. Trying to work on customer cars, trying to work on our own cars, trying to find time to sleep, and all the other good things in between there. I really should put LEDs in here. Probably plastic kind of smoked, which these bulbs are known for doing that. So, alrighty. See if we can get a decent angle here. Trying to do this all like, you know, by myself. Put that in. Wait. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Put that in there like that. Rotate. Clip that bad boy in there. Don't break, baby, don't break. Woo. She's a fighter. Trying not to break them. These things, these are used, they're not a new set. And they are notorious for snapping clips. Damn, that looks good. Whew. I like that a lot. That looks way better than what was on there. To be honest, I've never paid attention to these lights as far as what they do. Don't really care, don't matter to me. It's far as the function of them. So let's see. Oh, keys in office. Let's go get the key. Hey, look, C5. All right, let's try this again. Key is on.
It's my son's
Radio's doing things. Right. Right. It's an accessory. How does this work? Okay, there we go. Then park lights on. That's an old back one. That one works, but weirdly lit. Oh, that's much better. Oh yeah. The way the light transfers through it's a lot better too. I know it looks very hot spotted, but in person you can kind of see the reflection all down it, which is a lot better than whatever's going on over there. This looks worse in person. I don't know how it looks in the video. Yes, my headlights are crazed and need to be replaced. But like I said, time, gotta find time. All right, let's get the other one in there real quick. All right, I'm gonna let you in a little secret. The fronts are easy to do because you take these little clips out right here, these little panel retainers, reach back here, pop them out. I've already done it, knew how it works. The back I haven't had off, and to be honest, I don't feel like figuring that out tonight. It's probably not hard. I don't know. Don't feel like dealing with it right now. We'll do those a different day. So anyway, hood struts installed, front and side markers installed, rears, we'll do that another day. There'll be a lot done to that car later. Back to the RX7. You need to figure out that relay, get that thing installed, get that signal inverted so the fuel pump works properly, get this car on the ground. Yeah, go from there. So let's get on that. All right, we are taking the RX7 on a drive. She's got some issues. Let's get the old, oh, look at that. Woo, both of them work. That's why all these guys be bragging about that JDM stuff. Brakes. Wow, I feel really claustrophobic in this car. Good Lord, yeah.
Got an ABS light.
Yeah, that's no bueno. Let's get up to our data logger. Things are.
You close the deck lid, guy.
Hold on, I got you. Where's the door handle in this car?
And he didn't close the deck lid.
Look, what?
The deck lid's open.
Shut the deck lid, Rick. I can't find. I found the door handle now.
Oh, did you put the
It's just laying in there.
Be back. Yeah, that dust shield probably.
On one of the rear rotors.
Yeah.
It'll grind itself down. It's fine.
Part of its own form and shit.
It's a little odd being on this side of the car. You know, the dust shield making noise, whatever. As far as running, it don't run bad. It just does not like to idle. Coolant temps 193. IAT is 98. Closed loop compensation is -12. That's a stutter, ain't it? Or are you doing that?
Not me.
Stuttered. See, that's what I'm worried about though. Low RPM shit.
Yeah,
Which I mean,
it's fine.
something is off in there. Let's go to our learn table. Woo. Lordy. See what she does there. Adjusted the tune a little bit. See, I don't understand the low RPM stumble. If he's gonna drive it and then fix the injectors, whatever later, I'll probably lock it down on like a 15% learn range, so it can't get outside of that.
The heater controls light up.
Sounds rough in the back, but it drives. That's more than it did before. Oh yeah, you got a lot of good.
Feel that fucking good.
Transfer all the data down. Take a look at our base fuel.
So what the hell are you guys dragging down the road?
Dust shields rubbing on the rotors because they're all f***ed up.
I can hear that long before I can hear the car.
What's up? Still no heat. That's about as much heat as
it's got heat-ish.
That's all
But
it.
none of this is working. And it's not switching to the defroster.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know if that's a previous problem or not. Hey, the ABS light went out and the brake light came on.
Fixed. Oh wait, no.
Oh, sweet.
Done.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm good. Woo!
This thing's gonna be dumb.
Oh, dude.
This thing's gonna be dumb.
Yeah, that's this thing is
It's gonna be
rowdy.
fucking
It loves the RPM, so as long as he drops it in third and fourth and just drives the ever-loving hell out of it, he'll be all right.
But how long till before he goes idle and we'll start no more?
That's fine. That's what I was telling Sean. I'll just lock it down 10-15% max learn, let it go, because it stumbled a little bit. It was
definitely needs an alignment.
not, shouldn't say it stumbled, it stutters. Cruising RPM, it stutters. But it's the same thing that's happening at idle. It's doing the same crap.
Yeah, like 1500 RPM, 6 gears, it's like my throat.
Get the old gas card ready, drop her down in fourth and let her rip. You'll be all right. Make good time. Tell the cops when they pull you over why you had to do what you did. Fuel map's looking like it's making sense. Little splotchy, but not bad. Alrighty. Do some ricey boy stuff. This is weird, Colby. I don't know that I like it. God, I've never felt so tall in all my life sitting in this car. brought the idle RPM up to close to 850 and manually pulled the fuel down in it. It helped out the idle a lot. You're good. That's about it. Realistically, I think it's about as good as it's going to get with the deadline we got and whatnot. I really don't think that stutter and shit's all in the tune. So
I got a lifter partially collapsed or something. It may free up over time, or it may not.
I mean,
there's some Marvel mystery oil running.
The way it looks driving around, I mean, I guess, you know, it should make it to Georgia. Feel good about everything we've done on the car anyway. You hear that tapping? It don't sound right though.
It's definitely valve train.
Man, so much traffic on the road today.
We'll get after it though, that's for damn sure.
Dude, it ain't no slouch. I mean, I bet this thing is just fun. Ride around just ripping on it all day, take it to the track, have some fun with it. Alright, so it was our final drive in the LS1 RX7 on Holley Terminator. So, boot this thing up. Fans are on. Just need to grab the last thing we left the ECU on. Kill that. Alright. So, what I'm gonna do now is lock this down. If I can remember where. There we go. Close loop learn. Disconnect. Yeah, I know. Cancel. Okay. So I'm gonna lock the close loop and the learn parameters down to guess somewhere around 20 plus or minus on both. Normally I would run a tighter control on that once the tune's dialed in, but since the tune doesn't have as much time on it as what we normally have on these setups, we're just gonna give it a little more range, so that way it won't try to like learn way outside in case something goes wrong or get stuck in a weird loop or nothing like that. So we're just gonna set all of these to 20 up and 20 down. Same thing on the learn. Oh. Yeah, I am aware. I don't know why it keeps telling me that. All right, 20 on that. That'll lock our learning down. Go ahead and so. Where go to USB link, maybe eventually. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. I got you. Send it to the ECU, save our final tune, go back offline. Now we'll pull a splitter cable and the USB cable out. I did get everything cleaned up down there except for a splitter I have tied into the CAN bus to be able to hook the laptop up with the 3.5 screen. I'm not going to mount the 3.5 because I don't know where the guy wants it, so I'll let him make that decision. That thing is fun. It does still have that stutter. Unfortunately, the guy's leaving like today to go to Georgia with this, so we're out of time. It's got to be what it is. The car's set for 3 years. After we talked to the guy more last night, it's set for 3 years before we worked on it, so odds are the injectors are probably not happy. It sounds like it's got a lifter ticking. I don't know, but it's fine enough. It'll get him to Georgia, and he's aware of all that. It just has a little stutter, nothing to tune out of it. So, you know, it's saucy. Definitely, you know, took a little longer than I'd have liked to put the Terminator on it, but that's not to say it took a long time or there's anything wrong with the Terminator. As far as the install, it went really quick. Biggest issue has been sorting out issues on the car, but you know, we got it there. It's done. It can leave. I'll be happy. I would not line up with this thing. It was way faster than I thought, but like I say, tune looks fairly decent. It's a little choppy in the fueling. Smooth that out some off camera. So, yep. I guess this one is done. Customer can pick it up. On to the next project. Don't know what that one will be. Well, the next one I film. We got a bunch of stuff in here, you know, but see what the next one I film is. Go ahead and pull my cable out and be done with this. So if y'all like the content, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll keep filming more of this. We're gonna keep doing it regardless, but you know, we'll keep filming it if people want to watch it. You never know what the hell we're gonna be doing. So, see you guys in the next one.